This is only my 6th day and I've already seen 23 bears, which is a personal record for me. So first of all, this happened. And then the day after, I found myself surrounded by a pair of mating black bears. Welcome to bear country. So the sow popped up maybe 20 yards in front of me, blocking my route back down to my car. And then just to the left, 30, 40 yards, was the boar staring me down. I didn't really expect any problems. I backed away. I gave them plenty of space to do what they were going to do and to move on their way. But I had my bear spray ready because you always want to be prepared. In all actuality, most people are never even going to see a bear, much less have any problems with them. But that doesn't change the fact that bears still give people the heebie-jeebies. So that means it's story time. A number of years ago, I convinced a number of my family members to go backpacking with me. My sister was seriously scared of bears, and especially camping in a tent in the backcountry. But to her credit, she stepped outside of her comfort zone and she gave it a try. I think it was the second night of the trip. At around 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up to my brother-in-law at my sister's urging, shouting, "Go away, bear!" I listened for a minute and didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, I hear, which was my dad, who was a world record snorer in a tent not 10 or 15 feet away. And I thought to myself, really? You grew up with this man and you're confusing his snoring for a bear? But then all of a sudden I heard something moving between our tents, which made a sound. As it turned out, a moose wandered into our camp, possibly confusing my dad's snoring for a mating call. I love that story because it clearly highlights that our fear of bears is not proportionate to reality. But that doesn't change the fact that to camp safely in bear country, you need to take a few precautions. So let's discuss how to safely sleep like a baby in grizzly country. And a special thanks to Escapade for partnering with me on this video. We're going to discuss this trailer right behind me in just a minute. I don't think people are even capable of understanding the invisible role that smell plays in a bear's life. Their sense of smell is beyond supernatural. Even the most astute bloodhound cannot even hope to compete with the average bear. You're going to see signs like this posted everywhere that there are bears. Study these lists and do everything you can to keep these items secure and separate from your sleeping area. And that even includes when you're not in bear country, because smells linger. And they can linger on your bedding, they can linger on your tent. Just keep scented items away from your sleeping area. Period. And that especially includes food. Your mother probably told you when you were growing up to not eat in your bed. And that's really good advice when you're camping in bear country. Bison tacos. Oh, it smells so good. I always like to pre-cook my meals at home and then simply warm them up while I'm out here. Cleanup is so much easier and I get a lot more time to explore and have fun. Oh, so much better than beef. Hashtag bring the bison back. Generally, you want to keep all scented items either in a bear box or locked in your car. And storing things in airtight containers and then in a bear box or in your car, even better. And please, forget all of this nonsense that it's okay to throw your biodegradable trash in the trees or bushes or wherever. It's not. In addition to degrading our wild spaces, throwing your trash, biodegradable and otherwise, into the bushes serves as an attractant for bears and all other manner of wildlife. Everything you bring with you needs to be disposed of properly, or you just need to pack it out yourself. This is Leave No Trace 101, and it's one of the foundational principles that will keep you safe when camping in bear country. Let me show you guys a little trick. Just do a quick wipe with paper towels, add a little non-scented soapy water, and a few more paper towels, and just give it a good wipe. We'll break up all the grease. And honestly, if you can manage your food, your trash, and your toiletries properly, then you've already done 90% of the work to sleep safely when in grizzly country. So now we come to it. Do you sleep in a tent or a trailer? So the idea of sleeping in a tent in bear country terrifies people, and I understand why. While you're awake, you can monitor your surroundings and generally see danger in advance. But when you are asleep, you are your most vulnerable. And the idea of a thin piece of fabric being your only protection against the elements or prowling animals can be unnerving. That is exactly why I have partnered with Escapade on this project. I have been tent camping in Grizzly country for most of my life, and all of my kids have been camping in Grizzly country since they were newborns. It can be done safely, but you do need to take precautions very seriously. That means having nighttime clothes and daytime and eating clothes and never mixing the two. It means managing diapers and all this stuff. I understand that can be a bit intimidating for people. That's why I've got the Topo 2 from Escapade right behind me. It's important that you understand that sleeping in a well-built trailer with sturdy walls and a roof doesn't erase the need to keep a clean camp. Bears can and do break into trailers. These things are not armored vehicles, but there is no doubt that sleeping in a quality trailer can bring some much-needed peace of mind when you're camping in Grizzly country. In fact, there are some areas in Grizzly country where tent camping is prohibited because there's so much bear activity, which is a really strong argument for a quality trailer like this Topo 2. And small form trailers can go almost anywhere, except for the backcountry. It's pretty hard to fit this thing in a backpack. For my money, small form trailers are the absolute best offering out there, and they come in a wide variety of price points. The Topo 2 from Escapade's definitely going to be on your higher end, but you get a lot of sweet features for the price. Now I'm going to do a full walkthrough of the Topo 2 in a coming video, so make sure you hit subscribe and stay tuned for that, because this is a sweet little trailer. And pretty much the only place you can't take it is in the backcountry, where you're limited to a tent. But if you want a little extra security, you can definitely add an electric bear fence to your gear. Electric bear fences are one of the most underutilized tools in bear country. They are extremely effective at keeping people and their gear safe from prowling bears, with some limitations. As shown here, where researchers found a road-killed deer and hooked it up to a bear fence energizer to see just how effective it would be at keeping grizzlies away from this road-killed deer. As you can see, it worked for a while, but seriously, this was just too much of a reward for this bear to ignore. None of these things mean that you don't have to keep a clean camp, but you can add an electric bear fence in the backcountry. And if you're dispersed camping like I am right now, it can pull double duty. I was able to take my electric bear fence and create a 27 foot by 27 foot perimeter around my tow vehicle and the Topo 2. If you keep a clean camp and you use these tools, you can absolutely sleep safely in bear country. Now, you'll also notice in this video, whenever I'm moving around camp or even when I'm sleeping, just like when I'm hiking in the backcountry, that I have my bear spray handy. It's just like wearing a seatbelt. Whenever you're in a car, you're doing absolutely everything you can to avoid needing the seatbelt in the first place. But that doesn't change the fact that you always want to have your seatbelt on when the car is moving, just in case. You always want to have a quality deterrent with you when you're in grizzly country. And I can tell you that there have been several times where I have been very, very happy that I had my bear spray with me, including this trip. The truth is that in the wild, there are just so many variables that you don't have control over. So you focus on the things that you can control, like keeping a clean camp, having a perimeter, keeping attractants and your sleeping area completely separate. But I've also had bears move through my camp. And that's not because I had an attractant. They're just moving through the landscape. This is their home, right? So you need to be prepared for a possible encounter with the understanding that they're probably just moving through. But that doesn't change the fact that you want to be as prepared as you can be. Now let's discuss where I would and would not tent camp in grizzly country. If you can keep a clean camp and carry and know how to use an appropriate deterrent, I would not hesitate for a minute to tent camp in a national park like Yellowstone, Grand Teton, or Glacier. Honestly, our park rangers do an incredible job of keeping bears away from developed areas within national parks. That includes lodges, campgrounds, visitor centers, and whatnot. Every once in a while, a bear will wander into a developed area. Again, that's why you have the deterrent with you. But there has not been a serious incident in a developed area within a national park in decades. So if you keep your camp clean, like we've discussed, and follow the posted precautions, you can absolutely sleep safely and soundly in a tent in a developed campground in a national park. Now, developed campgrounds in national forests are also pretty good, with the understanding that the National Forest Service is just criminally understaffed and underfunded. And sometimes there are issues, which means that you should bring your A game. But that's what you should do every time you go camping. if we're honest. Now, if you do see a bear or there is a concern, make sure you contact proper wildlife management authorities so they can come and deal with that bear and assess the situation. It's also important to remember that when you're out here camping, you're generally responsible for your own safety. So that means keep a deterrent with you at all times, just in case. It's not likely, but you want to be prepared. Okay, so now we have to talk about private campgrounds. And it pains me to say this because I love the idea of people using their private property to allow people to camp and enjoy the outdoors. But I would never tent camp in grizzly country at a private campground. There have just been too many problems. And my working hypothesis is that private campgrounds just are not properly staffed or funded to monitor the behavior of their visitors, which means that a lot of visitors, not knowing how to responsibly camp in bear country, are discarding their trash and their food, and they're creating a dangerous situation. So if you're going to stay in a private campground, think hard-sided camping, even if they allow tent camping. It's just a risk that I don't think is worth taking. And the last two options are really the backcountry, which we've kind of already discussed, and dispersed camping, where you can drive out to public lands that don't have the amenities. It's not a campground. There aren't any toilets, there aren't any showers, or any of those niceties. But what you do get is a lot of space to yourself. But in some ways, it also means that you're at your most vulnerable. So if you're going to disperse camp or you're going to go backpacking, then make sure that you follow the precautions that we've listed in this video. I've got to tell you, my love of camping in grizzly country runs deep. In so many ways, we have forgotten the true character of the land that we possess. And it's not just the scenery. Spending time in an intact ecosystem is a sacred experience that has been mostly forgotten. If you can find the time and you feel comfortable doing so, I would definitely advise that everyone spend some time camping in grizzly country. There are lower risk and higher risk ways of doing that. But if you follow the principles that we've discussed here and now, you can do it safely. Until next time, thanks for joining me on this trip, and special thanks to Escapade for partnering with me on this project. If you appreciate the information presented in this video, please consider joining the Wild Spaces team here on YouTube or on Patreon, or click thanks below this video. For all things bear safety, make sure to subscribe to At Home in Wild Spaces, and I'll catch you on the next one.